Welcome back. Wow, that's a pretty awful start. I have my sandwich. I got my water. You know why you're here. You just want to learn something about Photoshop. That's right. You've seen the intro. You already know what it's about. And let's just dive right in. So I will be showing you what I've learned through Photoshop. I don't use Photoshop a ton, but I went to school, I took some classes for it, and I've learned a ton through it, and pretty much the basic things that you can learn. So I will be showing you everything that I've learned, and some fun things you can do with it. So we are now on Photoshop. I've opened it up on my desktop. Nothing special about it. If you don't have it, obviously you're gonna have to go to adobe.com and either buy it or partner with somebody and get it that way. But yeah, so it's here. What you can either do is create a new or open from your desktop. I'm just gonna go ahead and create a new, and you can customize your width however big you want it for thumbnails. It has little presets here that you can mess with, but I'm just gonna go ahead and click with this, and yeah. So right here I just have a blank slate. If you want to zoom out on this slate, you can press this tool right here, left or right, and it'll zoom in and out. And just for example's sake, I have a picture already pulled up here. Go ahead and drag from your desktop onto there. Yes, it's a beautiful picture here of this man just being polite to this lady. So I'm now going to go through the different tools that it comes with and what you can do with some of them and give y'all some examples. So this tool, this top one, it's the move tool, so you can grab whatever you put on there, whatever layer you want. You can move it around, position it how you want, and whatnot. And another way to move something else around is you go to edit and you press on free transform, and you can make it big or small or really whatever you want. Just depends on what you put down there. And to get out of free transform, you press enter. So with the lasso tool, what I like to do is a lot of times I'll do cutouts of people. So if you hold down Z, you can zoom in that way too, and you can just really select whatever you want, and it'll select it for you. You can, I think you can press C, and it'll, you can fix it however you want. And to go back and forth, what the frick? To go back and forth, you can press Command Z, and it will take you a step back. And if you want to move around around your picture, you hold down spacebar, and it will grab the picture for you, and you can move it around like that. Yeah, with the lasso tool, if you want to, like, say I want to cut this out, her face out, I go ahead and, this is a rough draft, or a little sketch there, I'd go ahead and cut her out, and then Command C it, then I can Command V it, and it'll put her layer right there. And if I want to get away from that and look at her actual face, you just press the icon right here, and it'll show her face right there. I can just go ahead and press that back on, and we don't want this layer, so I'll select it and delete it. The next tool we're going to do here is the crop tool, and the crop tool is pretty self-explanatory. You can select it, and it will obviously crop whatever you want. Size it to whatever you want, and press enter, and it will crop the picture to that way. And once again, if you want to get out of that, Control Z it, and it'll Control Z out of that. The next tool I want to talk about is the eyedropper tool. So this is very interesting because, say if you wanted to get the color of her teeth, the color of her lips, it will just show it whenever you hold down the tool above her. So say I want the color of his collar, I can press that and it'll put it there, and it automatically puts it here in your color, and it shows where it is in the spectrum, and it gives the number that you can copy it right here. You can copy that, Command C it obviously, and so that you have that color saved. And so if I want to go to the bucket tool here and paint her face, it's already selected, so it'll paint her face like that anyways. But if it didn't have the color for some reason and you wanted to put it back on there, you could Command Z it, and then you would have the color of that already put down there, and pasting it wherever. So the next tool here is this spot healing brush. So this one's pretty interesting because if you were to take a picture and say her ear or her hair was sticking out over here, for some reason, you would do it on the edge over here, and it would crop out. You know what, let me show you a different way of doing this. If I took this picture of this pavement and I wanted to get this grass out of the area, then I would just go ahead and go to this tool and select it like that, and it takes it out of the picture and it replaces it with a different area in the photo. So it's kind of hard to explain, but it's super nice and helpful when you have photos that you don't want something showing in it. Maybe some bunny ears that somebody's put on somebody else or something like that. It's pretty useful. Something else I would like to mention when we're on the subject of these tools is that on each tool pretty much you can hold down and it'll have different tools along with it. But for right now, what I want to do is just go ahead and give you what the presets already have in there, so that we're not making this video too long. And so yeah, that was the spot healing brush. You can do the patch tool. I'm going to go ahead and, I know I just said I wasn't going to go into it, but this is another one of my favorite tools because you can say I wanted to like take away her eye and move it somewhere else. Then it will go ahead and heal. Go ahead and heal that away, and so now it just looks like a patch of skin. It's kind of fun to play with, and if you're new to it, it's always something that you can enjoy and just play around with. So the next tool here that I want to talk about is the erase tool. So this one's pretty self-explanatory, and I use it constantly. If you use Photoshop, you'll be using it constantly too. So if I wanted to, say, take off a different part of her, if I wanted to cut away her head, what I would do is, first of all, get this out of the way. Obviously the brush is too big to like accurately cut out her head with the brush. So for all the tools that need to be resized, you can go up here to the top left, and it'll have different types of like erasers that you can use and whatnot. I don't really use any other ones besides the eraser that's on there, but mainly what you'll be using is this size tool. So I've made it a little bit bigger with that, and I can go down and size it down. So now that's about what I want, but I want it to be a little bit harder, and the hardness has to do with how much it'll how many pixels it will cut through at one time. And you just hold down and see I've cut kind of a shape out of her head. And you can do this as really anything. If you want to, say you wanted to cut out his hands or something like that, you can cut out his hands and erase. You can just really erase whatever you want. The next tool I'll be talking about here is, we already kind of covered the paint bucket, but there's another tool inside this that's called the gradient, and you can this one's really interesting. I don't really know the full extent of it just yet, but a lot of times you can select things and, well, let me just show you. So I have my gradient up here, and it has different presets that you can use, and you can go inside those presets and select whatever color you want. It's really interesting. Like I said, I don't know the full extent of it just yet. Anyways, if you have it set to a certain color mode, you can swipe across and it'll throw a little background like that. And really, all I've seen this used for, and all I've used it for, is like background and stuff. So I'm going to go to my bottom layer here, and what I just did there was unlock it so that I could use it. To unlock it, you double click and then press OK. But I want my background to look cool in the back of this picture, so I'm going to go ahead and swipe and see it made a little white and blue kind of gradient back there. And if I want to do this one, pretty much just do the same thing and swipe, and it changes it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool for thumbnails and stuff like that. So next tool we're going to be using is this blur tool. So what I can do with that is kind of is it on? Yeah, it's on blur. So it'll pretty much, it's pretty self-explanatory. It'll blur out or whatever you press on. So I'm going to size that up so I can just show you a little bit better. I'm on the bottom layer, and it is now blurring out whatever I have the thing on, the tool on. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, tools are up here if you want to fix it a certain way. Sharpen tool, self-explanatory. It'll make whatever picture you are wanting to make sharp, or whatever part of the picture you want to make sharper. Dodge tool, sorry, smudge tool. Yeah, just kind of smudges everything really together. Nothing really special about it. And here we have the dodge tool, and this one's gonna make anything like darker that you press on, or sorry, lighter. And then you have the burn tool. That one will make things darker. Sponge tool, I think this has a pattern with it. I'm not sure. I won't cover that because I don't really know what that does. Next tool I'm gonna cover is the text tool. So anything with having to do with text, you're gonna want to use the text tool over here. And really all you do is press right click down, and left click, sorry, and it'll make a new layer, and it'll have whatever preset text you have on there pop up. Mine is this weird whatever, and you can just start typing, type whatever you want, and you can Command T that. Oh, sorry, not Command T. Then you can Command T it after you press off of it and make it bigger or smaller, and you can, put whatever you want on it. And that's pretty much it. Of course, you can always rotate it. Another big thing with layers, and especially the text, because you see it a lot in text, is you can double click on each layer, and it'll bring up this layer style here, so you can stylize your layers. So I just took a nasty drink there. And so you can bevel and emboss it. It puts a little cartoony thing on here. And these just do a ton of different things. I won't really get into it, but they're fun to mess around with. And anytime you do text, you usually want to put one or two of these on there just to make it pop out, so it doesn't look so so plain, I guess. And up here on your top left, this is where you're going to look for your different fonts that you'll be using. You can download fonts from the internet, and they'll come up here too. And this is usually those come with I'll just show you. I'll pick one real quick, and it'll have bold or regular or whatnot, and it just makes it a little bit stronger, a little bit skinnier or whatnot. And you can type in whatever size you want up here. Usually you can just Command T it, and then you can resize it. But if you really want to get specific, you can go ahead and type in, whatever number in there, and it will make it bigger or smaller. If you want to center the text, you can press that, and it'll center it. For whatever reason, this left one is center. Up here is your color. This is where you can change your colors. I don't know why it looks so weird like that. Usually it's not like that, but okay. And this is your cursor tool. Don't really. The next tool we're going to be looking at here is the shape tool. So if you hold it down, you've got different shapes here. And this is really for people that want to get into graphic stuff. So I'll just show you the rectangle tool here, and it just makes a rectangle. And you can, go back to your tool up here and move it wherever you want, and you can select the fill of what you want for it, and different colors and strokes. And you can also go up here on top right and put a little edge to it. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but yeah, I guess you can. And yeah, that's really it for the shape tool. And then you can hold it down and go ahead and go to the custom shape tool, and it'll pop up this area up here, and it'll have a bunch of different shapes. I think you can download some at some point on the internet, but yeah. And then next tool is a little hand tool. I think this is really just for you to grab wherever you want to go. It's the same thing as pressing the space bar. And this is a zoom tool like we talked about. And one more big thing is whenever you look things up on the internet, if you want it to be see-through, you can type in PNG after whatever image you're looking for. So if I wanted to put in, let's say, sun PNG, it'll show these images, and this has this checkered pattern in the back. Sometimes the checkered pattern is messes up or whatever, so it's, as you see, if I drag it back there, it shows that the checkered pattern is still in the back, so that one's not actually PNG'd. Let's see if I can find one here. I'm new to Windows, so it might be just because I'm using Windows. Let's see. Anyways, it doesn't look like it's working for me, but what you can do, if it's like this anyways, to make it your own PNG, you can drag it, obviously, to the desktop first, because I forgot what it's called. The quality goes down if you just drag it like that onto Photoshop, but if you drag it to the desktop first, it keeps the quality. And you can drag it onto there and press enter, and then you can get your erase tool and go to magic erase, and this only works when you have a background that is a totally different color than what you're trying to cut out, and you press the magic erase tool, and now it's a PNG, and you can save that whatever you want. Last thing I'm going to talk about is exporting. So to export your beautiful project, you can go to File and then Export, and it has some little different things you can export it, but usually I just press Export As, and it'll show you what exactly, if it'll load, the different ways you can export. So it gives you your width, your height, you can rescale those. Yep. What else? Oh, okay, so it's in PNG format, and you can change it to JPEG, GIF, or SVG, whatever you've made it, but usually you just want to do JPEG or PNG. You can do different file sizes and whatnot, and yeah, that's about it. And once you export it, you can rename it right here, and then you can save it to desktop or wherever you want. So that is it. That's all I have for y'all. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, give me a follow, something like that. I don't know. What do you think, Connor? Doty.